Good morning, readers. Well, it is the end of April. Today is the 30th, so we are into May tomorrow. And this weekend is a freebie weekend, which means you can get Changing Fortune cookies. That's this one here, number 14 in the Auntie Clem's Bakery Mystery Series, for free download at any of the ebook retailers today or directly through my website. And I have a number of other freebies available on my blog post. I'll put the link in the comments below so that you can click over there because I have a number of other freebies that you can pick up at the same time. And I thought I would do a reading, an additional reading from Changing Fortune Cookies today. I've done one previously that you can check out on my website, and I will read a little bit further today. So this is from later on in chapter 4. It was a few minutes and a few more knocks and a doorbell later that Mary Lou finally came to the door. She looked Aaron and Vic over, her face pale and drawn, looking like she'd been sitting up for days, waiting for Joshua to come home. Erin's heart hurt. She wanted to take her former friend in her arms and give her a comforting hug, but she refrained, waiting to see whether Mary Lou would even allow them in or be interested in hearing what they had to say. Nothing, Mary Lou asked dully. No, Erin confirmed. She was prepared to leave. That was really all Mary Lou needed to know. Erin's search had not come to fruition. Joshua had obviously not returned on his own. It was up to Mary Lou to take the next step. Mary Lou sighed, rubbing her hand over her face, then turned slightly and motioned the other women in. Erin led the way, Vic trailing behind her. Erin had a strong feeling of déjà vu on entering the front room. She remembered arriving there on Thanksgiving, seeing the cops outside taking Campbell away, walking in to find Joshua there comforting Mary Lou. Joshua should have been there with Mary Lou, but he wasn't. They sat down and looked at each other, silently working out who would speak first. We went everywhere we could think of in Whitewater, Erin offered, and when we couldn't think of anywhere else to look, we just drove up and down the streets. All of the streets. Was there any sign he'd been there, any hint at all? Mary Lou asked. No, no one had seen him since he did the research for his report on the contest. People remembered him, the librarian, other people he had talked to when he was tracking information down, but they hadn't seen him for the last day or two. Nothing since he wrote the article, I guess. He's been home since then. He didn't say anything about going back to Whitewater or doing a follow-up story. He's been at home, going to school and doing homework. Mary Lou shook her head. He's been here. Everything was normal. And then just gone. How could he be gone? I don't know. Erin looked at Vic, raising her brows. He never said anything to you either? They were at least closer in age than Erin and Joshua, both still teenagers, even if Vic was legally an adult. No, I haven't seen him at all. We weren't close friends. Vic wasn't even from Bald Eagle Falls. She had probably seen less of Joshua than Erin had. But Erin didn't want to reveal to Mary Lou that Joshua had been by to talk to her more than once since Erin had been told to stay away from him and not involve him in any more police investigations. That wasn't Erin's fault. She'd never contacted him or encouraged him to talk to her against his mother's wishes. He had just shown up and would not be dissuaded by any of her arguments. Well, that's it then, Mary Lou sighed. I was hoping it would be something simple, that you were right and he was just wanted to get some more research done, off being an intrepid reporter. Her eyes moved to the newspaper that she had previously brought to Erin's house, which now resided on her dining room table. Except for that. It could still be something innocent. Maybe he just lost track of time. For an entire day? Mary Lou snapped. No, he didn't just wander off in the middle of the night and forget to come home. No. Erin looked down, her eyes suddenly swimming. Are you going to call the police? Vic asked. Looks like I don't have any other choice now, Mary Lou said. She squeezed her lips tightly together, trying to keep her own emotions under control. I guess I'll do that now. The two of you can see yourselves out. Don't you want us to stay with you? Erin protested. At least until the sheriff gets here? No. Mary Lou's words were clipped. I'll be fine by myself. You have had a long, unproductive day. You'll want to get some rest tonight. I know I won't." Erin forced herself to her feet. Her legs were shaking, and she hated to leave Mary Lou like that. She must have been screaming inside. Erin couldn't imagine how terrified she must be about what had happened to Joshua. If Erin could feel so worried for someone who was nearly a stranger to her, she couldn't imagine how badly Mary Lou must be taking it. But Mary Lou didn't crack. She watched Erin and Vic head back toward the front door, looking down at her phone to make the call she'd been dreading making all day. The call that would mean she could no longer deny being worried that something had happened to Joshua. Something terrible. All right, so that is Changing Fortune Cookies, which you can pick up today. The first in the series, Gluten-Free Murder, is also available for free download, or you can pick up the first 3 in the series for $2.99 today as well. All right, and there's one final quote for you from Changing Fortune Cookies, and I will be talking to you next week. See you then.